What's up, legendary marketer? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to the Wake Up Legendary Show. I'm gonna kind of lean back so you can see me in this frame here, and then I'm gonna get rid of this frame. But hey, we're gonna rock it today. We're gonna talk about how not to be fake. Why being fake can ruin you. It can just absolutely ruin you. All right, I'm going to show you and talk about why, and talk about the power of being you and how to use authenticity and connection and actually exposing your real self to your audience to build instant rapport. So share this video below. Drop me a comment if you're catching the replay, and let me know that you are catching the replay. If you're tuning in live, say hello down in the comments. I love to see who's tuning in with us every single day. And, of course, share this on your timeline or wherever you're watching this. Share this with somebody, because right now people need hope and they need certainty. And if you're an entrepreneur or somebody who is in business, or even somebody who had a job and is out of a job, understanding how to make money and grow a business online is like essential right now. Okay, it's essential. All right. So awesome. Let me cool. So now we've got a good clear picture of me here. Welcome again to the Wake Up Legendary call this morning. I want to take you back to the beginning of my journey 10 years ago, because I came into this internet marketing thing, if you'll call it, this career that I built for myself online, which of course at the beginning it was just a side hustle. It was sort of a rolling the dice thing. I mean, how many of you guys, by a show of comments down below, feel like growing a business right now is a little bit of a roll of the dice, or you were a little bit skeptical, or you were a little bit hesitant coming in? Anybody felt like that? Okay, I'm checking the comments, and I want to see if anybody's up to telling the truth this morning. Remember, the whole concept of this show today is about not being fake. So tell the truth, all right? So I felt like it was a roll of the dice, and it was. I mean, I didn't have any skills. I didn't have any experience. I didn't have any degrees. I didn't have, a lot of the things that you would think that you need in order to be successful in anything. And so when I came online, the only thing that I had was just my energy and my story. And so that's what I started to tell. And I'll never forget, I had done these various videos because back then, we were also doing videos and so forth, not on the sort of devices like iPhones and stuff that we have today. How many of you guys remember back like 8, 10, 12 years ago, where we had like the Nokias and like back then I had this little camera that was called like the Flip or something, and cell phones didn't have cameras, and if they did, they totally sucked. It was like that super ugly, very pixelated picture that looked like it was, it was like taken from 1940 or something. But anybody remember those things from about 10 years ago? So the first videos that I tried to film, I tried to sound and look like all these other dudes that I had seen out there on the internet. Comb my hair the same way. Like, this is how insecure and, how I thought that what I had to say and who I was not good enough and was not going to matter, So I want to be super, super real with you guys, because I think we have feelings and thoughts inside that we don't share a lot, and I want you to know that your thoughts and feelings are normal. When you're going into something, there's these really kind of these graphic and detailed thoughts and stories that we tell ourselves that sort of keep us from taking action. And for me, it was, I don't look good enough in a certain way. My hair is this, my voice is that. I had all these dumb stories in my head about me, and we're always our biggest critic. Let me know if you can relate to that down in the comments. I'm my biggest critic. Like, nobody criticizes me. Like, there's nothing that a hater can say online that's more critical of me than I've been of myself in the past, or even to this day. Like, I'm my worst, hardest critic. So over the years, obviously, I've learned to be a lot more gentle with myself than I used to be. But finally, one day, like, I went to this webinar, and a lot of you guys know my story of doing the webinar in my house with my wife, and I went to go do it, and nobody showed up, and I did the whole damn thing anyways just because I was too prideful to tell her that nobody showed up. But I eventually started to have people show up to, like, my, watch my videos and show up to my webinars. And yeah, I've been doing webinars for 10 years. I know Zoom's taken off through this pandemic, but I've been doing webinars for years. And so I had a webinar that I was hosting, and I was like, you know what? Screw it, man. I'm going to tell, like, my story. I had just done a lap, took my dog on a walk, and I listened to a dude named Jeffrey Combs talk about how he was an alcoholic, and like, he's a sales trainer, like somebody who was creating content back then, old school dude. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to just get on this webinar and just tell people, like, who I am, like, where I came from, what I'm trying to do, why I'm even doing this in the first place, instead of just trying to pitch something to somebody, instead of just trying to just come up and, like, act like I'm something that I'm not. So I got on this webinar and I was like, hey, I'm an ex-homeless dude. Like, it was not so long ago that I was not only homeless, but I was also addicted to drugs, and I was a heroin addict, and I had an IV drug problem, and I got clean, and I worked construction, and I realized that I wanted to make money off of what I know rather than what I do. And, like, I found the internet, and now I've figured out how to generate leads online. And I'd like to show you guys how to do the same thing, and you can build a business, and you can, make some extra money on the side or grow your business. And so obviously, after I got done revealing myself and sort of exposing myself, which are all the things that people tell you not to do, I kind of, closed my computer screen super fast and ran away in fear, afraid of the backlash and the rejection and the comments that were going to come in, because I hadn't really ever opened myself up to that hate and that criticism from the world. Like, when you're first starting out and you haven't had your first hater comment yet on the internet, like, you're still in the womb. You haven't even breathed fresh air yet. It's not until you get them hater comments do you get those people dropping that, yeah, you're ugly, you're fat, you're annoying, whatever it is in the comments, I hate you, that, like, you've made it, And one of my goals this year is actually to get even more haters. Every year I want more haters, because if you don't have people that hate what you're doing, you don't have people that love what you're doing. You can guarantee if people feel passionately about you that they actually hate what you're doing, then you've got a group of people who feel passionately about what you're doing in a positive way. So I came back to my computer after that all vulnerable webinar and opened it up, and I had made more sales than I had ever made before. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do different? Like, holy crap, like, what's going on here? This must be a fluke. And I also started to get messages from people saying, yo, like, what you said, you told my story, like, you resonated with me. I can relate to that so much. And what I've learned over the past 10 years is that people can't relate to my successes. They can't relate to a lot of the things that I've been able to achieve through success. But what they can relate to is the struggles. So that's my connection point. That's my connection point with my audience. And I have to make that connection point before I can then future pace people into what's possible. So it's kind of like electricity. Like, you've got a negative or a ground. I think you've got a negative, a ground, and a positive. Well, that ground, you can't have electricity flowing until you have that ground. And the struggle, the pain point, the challenge, that is the ground. That's the piece that you're going, that authentic, real, like, this is who I am. This is my real story. No bullshit. That's the ground. Drop a comment if you understand what I'm saying. Let me know. I want to make sure this is making sense. That ground that's the foundation. You can't future pace somebody. Future pace means you begin to paint a picture of what's possible when somebody buys your product or service. You can't, they can't begin to see or even trust that what you're saying is a reality, is truthful, is real, and even give them permission to begin to see that until that ground wire is in place. And that ground wire is the story, the struggle, the pain. And the reason why we tell our story in any great product has a product story, and the reason why that pain part is so important, that struggle is so important in the story, is because that helps somebody to identify their own pain. And when you're selling and marketing, a lot of people don't even realize that they have a problem, or they don't want to. They're in denial about their problem. Pride, ego, all play a part. They don't want to admit that something's wrong. Why? Because the majority of us have been raised to try to cover up and sweep under the rug our mistakes, right? That's why this whole strategy that I'm talking about this morning works so powerfully. So by me using a story of myself or another person at the beginning of my presentation, my video, my webinar, whatever it is, the reason why that's so powerful is because it gives somebody permission to lower their pride and ego enough to be like, oh, you know what? I got that problem too. Like if you're going to go first and tell me about all your ugly scars, then okay, I'll go ahead and I'll tell you about mine, and I'll show you mine. And as elementary as that is, it's true. The majority, like the large majority, like 99.99999999999% of people don't go around sharing their vulnerabilities. They go around sharing their successes. And the entire, guys, I need to see some comments. This is powerful stuff. I just want to make sure this is making sense. So if you would drop me a comment, let me know that you're picking up what I'm putting down. A lot of this stuff is reserved for masterminds, coaching clients, walking them through how to sort of crystallize their marketing pitches so they resonate more with their customers. But I'm hoping if I give this to you as you're creating content, as you're making videos, as you're writing copy, you're going to really focus more on this part and embrace the mess inside of your message. So when I'm going into this story, my story or somebody else's story in a video, webinar, or pitch, I'm giving them permission, the customer, the listener, I'm giving them permission to lower their pride, to lower their ego, and to say, you know what, oh, God, me too. And I create an atmosphere of identification rather than just like pride and ego, which is what drives the majority of our society. Like if you look at politics, it doesn't matter what side you're like, it is just such a great example of this. Like the majority of politicians is all they do is try to paint a picture of how well they've done or how they've not screwed up. Like rarely do we ever get somebody who's like, hey, like I take responsibility for this. This was my fault. Like I could have done better here. Even saying that, like we could have done better. Like it's rare. You know, the great leaders of this world, the great CEOs, the great leaders of companies are ones who lead with vulnerability. And there was a great book by a woman called Brené Brown called Daring Greatly. And what Brené talked about, and I would highly recommend this to anybody who's struggling with embracing their vulnerabilities and their story, what Brené talked about was the idea that you can lead and connect much better with people by being vulnerable with them rather than trying to hide your scars, okay, your wounds, the mistakes that you've made, all right? So the headline of this video today is don't be fake. And it's not about, hey, don't be fake because you're a fake loser. It's not about that. It's don't be fake because it doesn't work. And people's BS detectors, I think that the majority of the marketplace these days have a built-in BS detector that's like extremely high. They can sniff out whether you're being real or whether you're being fake. And the second that they think that you are being fake or not telling the truth or something, that skepticism goes up, those buyer defenses go up, and they're going to click away. They're going to stop watching, they're going to log off, they're not going to buy, and it's going to be very difficult to then ever regain that person's, once you've lost them kind of thing. Now, the great news is there's almost 8 billion people out there that you have another chance with. But what if you could make that instant connection with people the moment that they log on, the moment that they start hearing you talk, the moment that they start seeing you in a video? And that's why I encourage you. I came on today and I was just like, yo, like, I got to go. I'm late. Like just who gives a shit if you show up in a tank top or a pair of flip-flops or you haven't taken a shower, you don't have makeup on? Like, get and do it. Like, create the pitch, the webinar, shoot the video, post the video. Like, stop deleting it. Stop shooting it a million times. Stop thinking that you got too detailed and revealed too much of yourself. Like, stop all that. None of it matters. All right? What matters is that you get good at telling the truth. You get good at then connecting with the person's pains. That's all that matters. And like, as a copywriter, when I write for my own products, I write for somebody else's in another niche, which I rarely do anymore. But if I was, taking on clients or writing for products in the health niche or whatever, the number one thing that I would be looking to do is I need to find a story that connects to the target customer. And it's probably not going to be mine. I need to find one. I need to find a customer story, sort of like a testimonial. And I need to not just talk about the great successes, which is what I talked about. That's the future pacing. We get to that. That's the result. We get to that in a second. I need to figure out the pain, like, where did that person start, so I can tell that story, because that's what's going to hook somebody in. That's what's really going to hook somebody in. And I would venture to say that the story is more powerful than the hook, the headline, like any of that stuff. And a hook or a headline is like the immediate words that you use in like the title or the headline of a sales letter or something like that, or the headline of your YouTube video. I would argue to say that the story, as you get into that in your letter, video, webinar, pitch, as you get into that story, which starts with the pain, starts right in the middle of the pain if you can, is more powerful than any part of the actual pitch. Now, it's not going to convert if your offer is not good. You got to have a good offer to go along with that. But I would venture and argue to say that that piece of the puzzle is the most important in your content, in your pitches, in your videos, in your webinars, in your emails, like all that kind of stuff, especially when you're selling something, okay? So drop me a line below if that made sense, and share this with somebody. Like, this is valuable for marketers to know, and I don't think many know about it. This is valuable for leaders, business owners, CEOs, people in management to understand as well, because that concept of leading with vulnerability is not only a great connection point for people, like it's a great way to connect with them, but it's also, obviously, it works in terms of influencing. And you wouldn't think that. Like, you wouldn't think, man, me being vulnerable and talking about my scars and mistakes and F-ups and all that would lead to me being more influential. But it actually does, because you come off as more real. All right. So anyways, guys, tune in with me here Monday through Friday. I interview people. I bring on people who are producing. We talk about marketing. We talk about business. We talk about influence. And it just pops off. You never know what we're going to bring Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Drop me some comment love down below if you appreciate or got value from this. And if you have anything that you want to share, or a video or a topic that you want me to cover in the near future, share this with somebody. And if you're interested, somebody may have shared this video or this live with you this morning, and maybe they included a link to our challenge. If you're interested in learning how to build a business online, if you're interested in learning how to sell products, information products, courses, or sell other people's e-learning courses, this is an industry that's blowing up right now, then go to onlinebusinessbuilderchallenge.com. Again, onlinebusinessbuilderchallenge.com, and you can go through our 15-day online business builder challenge for like the price of a latte at Starbucks. So anyways, Have a fantastic hump day. And I'll see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Be legendary. Peace.